Hello, everybody. Welcome to this week's episode of Beware the Board, a horror podcast where we watch a randomly selected horror movie every single week. I'm Bob.
And I'm Ben.
Hi, Ben.
Hello.
We finally made it. It's finally
Yeah.
here. The end of season, what is this, 12? 11?
12.
The end of season 12. How many months late?
I
a
think,
while.
So normally a season takes us
10 weeks.
around 2 months.
Yeah.
2 months and a half. This season took us like 4 months?
4 months?
Something like that.
We started this at the beginning of the new year. Before the beginning of the new year.
Yeah. So, it's been a while.
Hey, but now we're back on track.
Hopefully you track. Yeah.
We're back on track, baby.
So
Let's go.
yeah, second to last episode of this season. Last movie spot.
Last movie of the season, correct. Yeah. Next week, of course, we have the wrap-up, which I'm excited about because I have a really funny category for you. It'll be cool. I'm excited.
Bob's already told me what it is.
Yeah, I have told him because, well, a peek behind the curtain.
We have a plan.
We have a plan next season. Will it work? Who knows? I will put this out there now. It might be our worst season yet.
Or our best season ever.
It just depends on how you feel about the movies we're going to watch.
Yeah, it's going to be a rough one for me personally.
I'm going to have a blast.
But it's also going to be a little rough.
Sure. But
There's going to be some low points.
I do revel in the fact that I know
what's going to happen.
what's going to happen. Except for the random, because that is random. We're not going to break the rules on that one. But anyway, before we get to the end of the season, we have to finish this one first. You know what I'm saying? So, we have one spot, Ben. Just Arnold.
Yeah.
Just one Arnie movie.
Last Arnie movie. And you know, we've already covered, as Bob said, the
You
only
gotta
good
let this
Arnie
die.
film.
You gotta let this one die.
And then after we watched Total Recall, the only 2 good Arnie films. There's nothing left.
There's nothing left.
No Arnie horror movies left.
But I have news
What? Oh.
before we do that.
Yeah, okay. You got me hyped up for that.
No, I know. I was building up the anticipation, but I didn't want to end it.
Antissa.
Yep. I have some news. I'm just gonna, once again, I'm gonna preface this by saying I'm looking at Bloody Disgusting. That's where this article I'm reading is coming from.
Bob's go-to source of
horror news.
stealing information.
Yes. Well, I wouldn't say stealing. Reutilizing.
Sometimes you read it
Verbatim.
directly.
I'm not going to do that this time because this one's just really cool. Everyone knows Terrifier 3 killed the box office. I mean, it was a pretty big success.
I don't think as big as Terrifier 2, though.
No, but they're making Terrifier 4, so...
I mean, yeah. I think it's supposed to be the last one, right?
Well, I think so. I think Damien Leone has come on record and said that he wants...
That's what he said at the
end
panel.
one. Yeah, this to be the last one, the newest one. There is now a Terrifier 3 documentary called Art Attack, the dissection of Terrifier 3, and it's only on Screambox. This is a 98-minute documentary that features insights from Damien Leone, David Howard Thornton, Lauren Lavera, and many more members of Terrifier 3 cast and crew. This is just really cool. It's very interesting. It looks really cool. If you're interested, it streams on Streambox. If you like the Terrifier franchise, I'd check it out.
Yeah, I will say Screambox is owned by, I think it's the Amazon horror service. Something like that.
I don't know about that.
I don't know.
I think Shudder's the Amazon horror service. No, Shudder's AMC.
Yeah.
But I can get it through Prime?
You can get a lot of subscriptions through Prime.
Yeah, that's how I do mine.
With that being said, Screambox is really cheap, and they have a lot of stuff there. I wouldn't necessarily recommend subscribing if you have Shudder. It's kind of a one or the other thing. But I will say Screambox has a lot of nicer stuff, like newer films instead of like niche films that Shudder has.
Yeah.
So that's really cool. I will say I have a particular vendetta with Screambox.
Yeah, you do. I forgot about this.
So if you're wondering, back when we ran this show on a streaming device, so my Roku, I had Screambox for a while because we needed to watch
Something.
I forget what. Because again, it has some interesting stuff that Shudder doesn't. So I got it, and then every time I tried to use Screambox, I had to log in again.
No matter how long it had been.
Yeah.
It made you log in every single time.
It was very annoying.
Well, especially because you're doing it like with a remote on a TV. Like if it was on your phone, it would be pretty simple. Like that's not bad. But having to like, oh my God.
With a shitty remote? Yeah.
Yeah.
It sucked.
That shit was brutal to watch. I laughed so hard every single time.
It sucked. So that's my disclaimer for Screambox.
Maybe they fixed that by now. It's been a while.
They hate me.
They don't hate you.
Me specifically.
But yeah, if you're interested in Terrifier 3, check out the documentary. It's on Screambox. It looks cool. Actually, oh, never mind. I was going to tell you about something cool you could do that's a discount, but it expires today. So it won't get to you.
I'm sure that you can find a discount for Screambox.
I'm sure you could. Next one. Ben and I watched Joe Bob's Last Drive-In a while ago together. Me, you, Jesse, our friend Evan, I think, was there too.
Yeah, we watched
Zombie 2.
I know, Zombie 2, and then
Come on. This is the movie I'm about to talk about.
it's not is it From Beyond or The
Nope.
Beyond?
It's The Beyond.
Yeah.
Because they were doing Italian zombies that night, so they watched Zombie 2, which I love Zombie 2. It's
We saw it.
phenomenal.
A zombie fight a shark.
Underwater.
It was a real shark.
Yeah, and a real zombie.
dude.
Well,
Well, not a real zombie.
but Lucio Fulci's The Beyond opens a Gate to Hell with a 6-disc 4K UHD set from Grindhouse.
Are you gonna buy it, Bob?
I really want to,
Usually it comes with a Blu-ray disc.
so I was going to tell you what's on here. So there's a bunch of stuff on this. If you're interested in Italian cinema at all, I highly recommend this movie. I think it's so cool. I love the scene at the end. Like, the end of this movie is one of the most cinematic things I've ever seen in a film.
Bob just likes the schlock that is Italian horror cinema.
Yes.
Because it is schlock. And
No, it's not.
I
It's true cinema.
I like it too. A lot of it's schlock. I mean, they made Cannibal Holocaust, guys.
That's a good movie.
It is a good movie, but it's also Cannibal Holocaust.
Yeah, you're right.
It's a crime against nature, literally.
Yeah. Anyway, the the Beyond like 6-disc 4K UHD release comes with The Beyond and The Beyond The Composer's Cut, audio commentary from actors Catriona McCall and David Warbeck, audio commentary by cinematographer Sergio Salvati, audio commentary by makeup artist Gianetto De Rossi, interviews with director Lucio Fulci and actors Okay, then it's like,
It's just a bunch of cool stuff.
holy shit. I was going to read all of this, and then I saw how long the list was.
Yeah, it's just a bunch of stuff. It's 6 discs, Bob.
Yeah. Didn't realize
Maybe
that.
2 of those are the movie.
Yeah, there's a shit ton of them.
So if you like that movie, I think it's probably a good collection for you.
Yeah, if you're interested in Italian cinema, I think you should check it out. I mentioned it because I like that movie a lot.
Okay. Is that
So-
it for news from you?
I think so.
I have 2 things to mention here. First of all, more's come out about Clown in a Cornfield.
That is something I wanted to talk about.
They
yeah.
did do I think it's like an early screening or something. I don't have the article in front of me, but apparently it's getting really good reviews.
I've heard really good things, yeah.
And I've heard apparently a couple people have been comparing it to Terrifier. I assume in like how well it does Scary Clown.
Yeah, but I'm curious if they're just making that leap because of Clown and if it actually has any sort of real substance.
Yeah, but I think it's because, I mean, I've heard good reviews about the film in general.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm assuming it might just be a good film. But I think the comparison to Terrifier is just because that is, in modern media, the Scary Clown right now.
True. It's fair.
Like, that's the standard for
But also,
Scary
I would
Clown.
say, even if you're not looking at, like, just Clown in general, Terrifier is, like, that's the big horror movie right now.
Yeah, that's the only thing comparable to, like, one of the big franchises that we've had in a long time.
Yeah, I would say I've seen similar stuff. I wouldn't say similar, but, like, similar comparisons to, like, Nosferatu, because that was pretty popular. But Terrifier just feels on a level of its own. You know what I mean? Like, they've already spawned 3 films.
It feels like how Halloween felt when it first came out.
Yeah. Which is interesting. But I'm curious if Clown in a Cornfield can get to that level, you know, and be as good. Because if it can, that's really cool, and I'm excited about it.
If we get another good franchise, I'd be excited.
Because, yeah, it really only feels like we have one right now.
Because we had the break from, what? The last one was, like, Friday the 13th?
Yeah, the remake from, like, 2012 or something.
Yeah, but it had petered out at that point.
Yeah. So, but it feels like we're finally getting back to horror franchises and making sequels and, like, running long-term stories. And that's exciting. That's really cool. Like, don't get me wrong. I enjoy a good one-off film every once in a while.
They're usually really good.
They're usually really good. In, you know, the case of Nosferatu or something, like, I enjoyed it a lot. I've heard Longlegs is really good. I want more stuff to get to that level. And I'm excited that this might do that.
So yeah, that's my first piece of news. My second piece of news is maybe not standard for this podcast.
Okay.
But I guess it's kind of horror related. It's something that I found cool. Have you heard of the novel All You Need Is Kill?
No.
So it's a Japanese novel, and obviously it got adapted into a manga. It's really good. Highly recommend you go read the manga. I read it a long time ago. It's pretty short. Like, it's a self-contained story. But it's super cool. In a lot of ways, it reminds me of something like Starship Troopers. The book, not the movie.
Okay.
Which is a lot more serious. But, you know, I know most of our American audience isn't going to recognize that because that's all Japanese. but they did have an American adaptation.
Whoa.
It's not good.
Oh.
Well, I liked it, but it's not a good adaptation, and
Okay.
I don't think it's regarded as a good movie.
That's fair.
That story inspired Edge of Tomorrow.
Oh,
So
okay.
have you ever seen Edge of Tomorrow?
I have not seen Edge of Tomorrow.
It's cool. Inspired by that story. Completely different, though. Americanized. Bob's like, I'm thinking back to The Ring.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it just got announced that it's getting an anime adaptation.
Oh,
So that's super cool.
that's cool. I've always enjoyed horror anime. I need to watch more of it. But some of it is just so fucking scary. I don't know. I guess it's because they have the ability to, animate however they want. But some of it is just so intense and gross. I just can't do it sometimes. But
Yeah.
I do like it a lot.
So, I don't know. I saw that this week and I thought that was cool.
No, that is really cool. I feel like that's something that you and I could both look more into and know more about.
Yeah, but it's from Studio 4C.
Okay.
So, what have they done?
It sounds familiar.
MFKZ, Halo Legends,
Mm.
Batman Gotham Knight. Done a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, that's cool.
Berserk, The Golden Age, Arc 2.
I never watched Berserk.
They got a bunch of stuff. Children of the Sea. I don't know.
Did you say Children of Earthsea?
No, Children of the Sea.
Oh, okay.
Earthsea is,
Studio Ghibli, right?
yeah, Ghibli. Anyways,
That's why I was confused.
super cool.
No, that is really cool. I think that's sweet. Okay.
Movie time?
I guess. Yeah, movie time.
Last movie spot.
Yeah,
So
Ben.
You don't get a choice.
Nope, I have no choices. My free will has been taken away by Arnold himself.
Do you have any ideas about what it could be?
I genuinely don't have a clue. Like, I really don't know. I don't know any other horror-esque movies that Arnold is in. Because here's my other thing. I don't know how far we're going to stretch what horror is. Because I mentioned that we watched Total Recall last night to a couple of my other friends. Like, that's not a horror movie. I was like, have you seen that movie recently? That movie's scary.
It's kind of horrifying.
It is pretty horrifying. But I don't know how far we move the bar. Like, where's the goalpost on Arnie? Is this just going to be another famous Arnold movie? Like, are we watching Twins with Danny DeVito?
Hey, that actually is horrifying.
No, it's not.
Imagine if Danny DeVito was your twin. 60,
Danny
70-year-old
DeVito.
man.
But my point is, I'm unsure of what you could even put here, so I don't know what it is.
Okay. Well, today we're going to be watching a film from 1984.
Okay.
It's called Twins.
We're not watching Twins.
We're watching The Terminator.
Oh, Terminator! Oh, Terminator! This isn't a horror movie.
So, Terminator kind of falls into that same general grouping that I think you considered The Predator as.
Sure.
Where
Yeah.
you were like, I know this from the modern day sequels, and I have a very specific image of this as like a fun action movie.
Yeah.
The first Terminator movie is a horror movie,
Okay.
and you're not going to like it.
Oh, what does that mean?
I think it's going to freak you out a little bit.
Okay. Cool. Benjamin, I'm really excited. I am actually really excited. I've never seen Terminator, which is so
Which
weird.
is so insane.
It's crazy, I know.
This is actually the movie that made me do this category. this
Really?
season.
You
Yes.
said we have to watch Terminator.
Because they just did the Terminator 4K,
Oh.
and I had pre-ordered it months in advance, and it came out around. Like, I knew it was going to come out during the season.
Mm-hmm.
Cool stuff. Definitely have it now because it took so long. But for my description, where is she? Where's Sarah?
What? That's Batman. What is this got to do with Terminator?
I just thought that was funny.
It is funny, but I'm confused. Who is Sarah?
You'll find out.
Okay.
I think it was pretty creative. We'll see what you think when we're done. For length, it is pretty long.
Okay.
It's an hour and 47 minutes.
That's not bad. It could be worse.
Could be 3 hours.
Could be 3. It could be 4 hours.
It's rated R.
Oh, thank God.
IMDb gives it an 8.1 out of 10.
That's pretty good.
Tomato meter of 100%.
No way. 100%. Have we seen that before?
I think once.
I think one other time, and it was not this. It was
It was a small movie.
It was a small movie with 100%. But 100% is crazy.
Yeah, especially that's the critic score. Audience score of 89%, meta score of 84%, and a user score of 8.6%. Or 8.6.
They're all high. I expected
Yeah,
that.
weirdly enough. People like this movie.
Who knew?
Who knew? For awards, it has 8 wins and 8 nominations.
Yeah.
Nice
okay.
even number. There's a lot of people in this movie.
Yes.
A lot of people. Most of them are really good and famous now because this kicked off a bunch of people's careers. I'm going to only mention some of the bigger roles in this film when I'm listing actors.
That's fair.
But I will note there's a bunch of little cameos. Like Bill Paxton is in here as a cameo.
Whoa, that's cool.
And our main man, from Piranha.
No way. He's in this movie?
Yes. Do you remember
Oh.
his name?
Oh my god, what is his name? Oh my god. He's like my favorite part of Piranha.
Oh yeah, he's a great character actor.
Cause oh man, what is his name? I know it. It's like an old-timey name. I definitely know it, and I'm losing my mind.
Do you want me to tell you?
Yes.
Dick Miller.
It was Dick Miller.
He's also in Little Shop of Horrors.
Yeah, he's
As
really
the
good. I like
detective.
him a lot.
Who just randomly eats flowers. Because that was a thing he actually did.
Yeah.
As a joke. Anyways, a bunch of little stuff. But I just wanted to bring that up because I'm not going to mention them here.
So fair.
So for notable actors, we have Arnold Schwarzenegger as the Terminator. He also played Jericho in End of Days.
Okay, I'm calling back to a bad movie.
You like that one.
I didn't say I didn't like it. I said it was a bad movie.
I think you liked it a lot. We have Michael Biehn as Kyle Reese. He was Corporal Hicks in Aliens.
Oh, I haven't seen Aliens.
I know you haven't. We do have to watch that soon.
Yeah.
Linda Hamilton as Sarah Connor.
Oh, Sarah.
Yeah, see Sarah.
I got it. I figured it out.
She played Rachel Wando in Dante's Peak.
Oh,
Lance Henriksen
also Aliens?
as Vukovich. Well, you know him as Ed Harley in Pumpkinhead.
That's why I know his name.
Yeah.
I knew that. I was like, I know that name. What's he in?
Earl Bone as Dr. Silberman. He played Dr. Eisendrath in Naked Gun 33 and 1/3, The Final Insult.
What the fuck?
Do you know the Naked Gun franchise?
No.
It's like a whole, I think it's a James Bond spoof franchise. And I'm pretty sure it's by the same people who did Airplane.
Oh, I never saw Airplane.
Yeah.
I've seen clips of Airplane, but I haven't seen it.
But it has that famous guy who, because of Airplane, is now famous as a comedy actor. Do you know who I'm talking about?
No, I don't think so. Maybe?
You'll recognize his face here. I'm going to pull up a picture. It's Leslie Nielsen.
That name is really familiar now that you say it out loud. Oh, yeah, I know that guy.
So that's the Naked Gun franchise. And then the last one I'm going to mention here is Paul Winfield as Traxler. He played General Casey in Mars Attacks.
Oh, I haven't seen Mars Attacks,
Which
but
is
it's
a-
bad.
Okay, but like if you're the type of person who likes 1950s bad, like space invasion stuff,
Yeah.
you're going to like it.
Yeah.
Because that's what it's made for. It's made for people who like that stuff. Anyways, directors, do you know it?
Oh, no, I don't know who directed this.
Really?
No, I don't know off the top of my head. I don't know.
James Cameron.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah.
That tracks. I got that.
He also directed Aliens, which is why I use that as a reference on here. And I believe he liked Michael Biehn in this movie, so he decided to
Oh.
work with him in Aliens.
That's cool.
Believe that's the story. But for the writers, we have James Cameron,
Mhm.
who did the screenplay. He also wrote, do you know anything by him?
No.
Titanic!
Oh, yeah. Well, Titanic existed before he wrote the movie, right?
I don't think so. I think it was...
Is it not based on it? It's just based on the event?
Yeah. I don't think it's based on a real story. There's a lot of, like, kind of real people in it.
Yeah. That's why I didn't know if, like,
But the Jack
he
and
wrote the
Rose
original, like,
are just
Titanic
made up.
screenplay.
Which, is insane because James Cameron always goes over the top. I love it. Next, we have Gail Ann Hurd, who has a writing credit for various movies. Basically, she's never written anything else because she's
Okay.
a producer, but she's gotten credit for all the other Terminator stuff. So she has a screenplay credit in this movie. And then William Wisher Jr., who has a credit for additional dialogue.
Oh, okay.
He wrote Judge Dredd from 1995, which is the one I think with Sylvester Stallone.
I think so. I think you're right.
So that's kind of cool.
That is cool.
Now for budget,
Oh, probably so much money, right?
you want to
It
take
has
a guess?
to be insane. $30 million.
No.
Okay.
You want to do another one?
Can you give me an up or down?
No.
What do you mean, no?
Down.
Well, no, okay. Now I'm kind of concerned. Because, like, I feel like maybe I was close. $26 million.
The budget for this film was $6,400,000.
I really thought that this movie was expensive.
So this movie, it looks really good. You're going to see it. And high quality detail. But what you have to understand is this was a sci-fi movie coming out in the 80s.
Yeah.
This was a B movie, Bob. No one expected this to do well.
That's crazy.
But it did have a good box office. 78 million.
Oh, 78. Hold on. Let me do the math real fast. What is that? 78 divided by 6?
Basically, yeah. Like 6.5, but just do 6.
It made 13 times its budget.
Yeah, so...
That is insane.
it's understandable that it got a bunch of sequels after that.
Yeah, no. I thought that maybe they would like it's sci-fi, so I thought maybe it had to be expensive.
Yeah, but no, they stretched the budget well. I mean, it's $6 million. It's still pretty good, but yeah, it's a weird cultural thing because like Terminator's so big now.
Oh, it's iconic.
It's what Arnie's kind of known for.
100%. This
so
and
than
Predator.
Anything else, it's probably the Terminator. But the fact that it was kind of a nothing movie when it came out is wild.
That's how it feels criminal.
Do you know anything about like what Terminator's about?
Kind of. Like,
What do you know?
Sort of. Robot Man gets sent back in time to kill someone because they're gonna like cause the end of the world or something, right? Isn't that like the point? Or like he's back in time to stop the end of the world, so he has to like I don't know. It's convoluted.
Okay, I'm gonna read you the tagline, but it is a synopsis.
Okay.
So I just wanted to make sure you kind of knew the basics. In the year of darkness, 2029.
No, in 4 years, the year of darkness.
That's never gonna happen.
No, never.
The rulers of this planet devised the ultimate plan. They would reshape the future by changing the past. Their plan required something that felt no pity, no pain, no fear. Something unstoppable. They created the Terminator.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
It's cool. It feels very like 1950s sci-fi movie, but
Like a B sci-fi movie.
Yeah.
Weirdly enough.
yeah, that almost makes sense.
Okay, I got a bunch of facts.
Okay.
So I'm going to read through them. Right off the board. Like I said, this movie wasn't expected to do well.
Mhm.
It did very well.
Clearly.
It was the top box office in the United States for 2 weeks upon release.
Damn.
Which is really great. Especially for a film that got no like pre-screenings or anything like that because they expected it to fail. As for the idea of this film, like I said, it's written by Cameron. And the story about how he came up for this is wild. And if you're interested, there's a nice documentary that mentions this whole thing.
Oh.
It's, interestingly enough, I think the Sharksploitation documentary.
Talks about Terminator?
Well, how he came up with the idea for this film. Because he came up with the idea while in a fever dream. Because he got really, really sick.
Okay.
During the release of his first movie. Because this is like really early on in his career.
Mm-hmm.
Piranha 2.
Oh, I forgot that was James Cameron.
Yeah. So when he was working on that, he had a really bad fever and he dreamed up Terminator.
That's crazy.
And, you know, he really wanted to make it a thing, but people weren't super interested in it, especially because he was an unknown director.
When your only credit is Piranha 2, I don't really see much,
with New World Pictures.
Yeah.
You love them, but
I do love them.
they're B movies. So he very interestingly sold the rights to Heard for $1
$1?
under the condition that he would direct the film if she produced it.
I mean, that's a steal.
Which is definitely like, from his perspective at the time, that was a good deal.
Yeah.
Because it's like, no one's going to make this movie, and I'm not going to get to direct again. And this is a cool deal for me. I think he has since said, oh my God, I wish I sold it for more than $1.
Yeah. That's fair.
But I think that's really fun.
Yeah, but I don't know. I guess it's the thing of like, if he hadn't done that, he probably would have never gotten to make it anyway.
Oh, yeah.
And his career probably would have just died.
Oh, yeah. This is the film that like kicked him off as like an actual director. This is what made him famous.
Makes sense.
Next thing, special effects in this film. They're
I've heard
really
they're
good. Oh, they're really, really good. Can you guess why?
Okay, there's a bunch of alien people tied to this. Or aliens tied. So did the dude who did the alien stuff work on this?
It's Stan Winston
Okay. Yeah.
and Gene Warren Jr.
Okay, I know Stan
So
Winston. I don't know the Gene.
Those are the guys that led the special effects teams. As you know, Stan Winston, it's great.
Yeah.
But this film has everything from miniatures, stop motion animation, and special effects.
Because Stan Winston did the special effects on Predator too, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
Stan
cool.
Winston does a bunch of stuff.
Mhm.
I cannot list it all.
Very
off the top
good
of
at
my
what he
head.
does.
He's very famous for it. So that gets you pumped up.
I don't know about pumped up.
Going back to Heard again, she has some weird interactions with this film. So she does have a screenwriting credit for this, but Cameron has stated in the past that she did no actual writing at all.
Oh.
So I think it was mostly him writing and then additional dialogue with William Wisher Jr. that did like the actual script. But she has a screenplay credit because she was involved.
Well, she owns the rights. She bought
Yeah.
them.
I don't know if she was married to Cameron at that point yet, but she did eventually marry Cameron. So
Oh,
who knows?
that's cool.
And obviously, aside from launching Cameron's career, because we already brought that up, this also solidified Schwarzenegger as a leading man.
Yeah.
Because he wasn't really famous at this point. He was well known, because, like, look at him. He's huge. But he hadn't really done a lot up to this point. Probably the thing he was most famous for at this point in time was Conan the Barbarian.
Oh, okay.
Which came out in 1982 and is very, very different. He doesn't really talk a lot in that, and he's really just muscles.
Yeah.
And that's it. So that's really interesting to see, especially since Schwarzenegger kind of did this film on a whim.
Really?
Yeah. Like, he has since stated in a couple different places, like his autobiography and stuff, that he took the role kind of as a interesting challenge because it was so different from what he was normally playing. He thought it'd be interesting to do, like, a sci-fi movie, because that's so different from Conan the Barbarian.
Oh, it's, light years apart.
But besides thinking it was an interesting challenge, he also took the role because this movie was one he thought was going to be so small that if he bombed, no one would care. It wouldn't ruin his career.
That's so funny.
So it's so funny to be like, okay, this guy did this movie, and it's the thing that made him uber famous.
Yeah.
Like, I'll Be Back is...
Oh, that's so quotable.
Like, you just say that and everyone knows you're talking about Terminator.
Mm-hmm.
With that being said, Schwarzenegger wasn't originally going to play the Terminator.
Oh.
If you didn't know that. Originally, he was proposed as the actor for Reese.
Okay.
Who is male lead in this movie. Cool character. That's the one played by the guy from Aliens.
Oh, okay.
Michael Biehn. And to be honest, Cameron didn't like him for the role. Like, he came up after other people rejected the spot.
Mm-hmm.
And Cameron was pretty intent on kind of coming up with an excuse to fire Schwarzenegger.
Damn.
Because he didn't want to cast him. But then he met him and is like, I don't want you for Reese, but the Terminator. That'd be cool.
That's funny.
You're not going to say anything, too. So I think that's an interesting story. But there is some interesting people who were offered the role of Reese as well. It's a bunch of famous actors. I'm not going to list them all because there was
a lot.
But some of the more notable ones were Sylvester Stallone.
I expected to hear that one. That feels like it should be near the top.
And Mel Gibson, which is a wild one.
Mel Gibson is way wilder than Sylvester, I think.
But they were just looking for, like, a famous leading man. So a bunch of people were offered. And then I think one of the wildest ones is... I think this was for the Terminator spot, but I might be wrong. It could be the Reese spot. But a certain person was proposed and turned down because Cameron thought they couldn't be a killer, like believable as a killer. Do you want to guess who it was?
So it's the 80s.
Yes.
Someone famous from the 80s that doesn't look like they could kill someone.
Yes. And did kill someone. O.J. Simpson.
Oh, shit.
O.J. Simpson was almost in this movie.
That would have been really unfortunate.
Yeah.
Because that happened in the 90s, right?
I think so. Something like that.
I'm going to put this out there right now for the audience. He definitely killed that woman. I don't know. He killed his wife. I don't
Oh, yeah.
OJ did it.
The funniest thing, do you know the whole story behind his autobiography?
No.
So, what's it called? It's a really fucked up name. It's If I Did It, Confessions of the Killer.
That's so fucked up.
Yeah. But long story short, I forget how it ended up happening, but he got into a suit with the family of the woman.
Ah.
And they got the rights to the book. So they just made the I Did It really, really big on the title font.
God damn. That's brutal,
Which
bro.
I think is really funny. They couldn't change the name, but
yeah.
Cool thing.
That is cool. That would be insane. I can't... So you're telling me OJ was almost the Terminator?
I think he was maybe the Terminator. He was never offered the role.
They thought about it.
But
they brought it up.
It was brought up by, I think, one of the producers.
I think that'd be a very different
would be in this
world
film.
We live in.
Don't know if he would be the Terminator. It might have been Reese, but weird to think about.
That is extremely
that
weird.
This film could be marred by O.J.
not
Simpson.
think you were going to say O.J. Simpson. I had so many other actors in mind.
When I said actually killed someone, you were like, who the fuck?
Yeah, I was like, who killed somebody? Well, then my thought was like, I didn't know what movies people died on the set of, so I was like, maybe The Crow, but that's later.
They didn't feel like he could realistically kill someone.
Yeah, which
is so funny.
That's crazy.
That's Cameron's reason for not
casting him.
Or not offering
OJ
him.
heard that and said, never again. I'm getting all my roles.
I'm going to fix this.
Yeah.
Anyways, filming for this was a little bit tricky. It was actually originally supposed to start in early 1983.
Damn.
But due to some, we'll say, scheduling issues, It was pushed back to
Nice.
March 1984.
God bless. That's a long time.
If you're wondering what happened, Dino De Laurentiis is what happened.
God damn this guy. Every time he comes up, it's something bad.
Basically, he pulled, I think, something in one of Arnold Schwarzenegger's contracts. So he had to, like, go film for, like, 9 months or something.
I see.
I think it was for Conan the Destroyer. But that was kind of the big thing, is Schwarzenegger was busy a lot. Because he was just doing a bunch of stuff.
That makes sense.
So that pushed back a lot of this. Because you have to remember, this came out in 84.
Yeah.
But it was in concept way before that. in,
Well,
like 82.
before that, yeah.
But that's pretty interesting to see. Soundtrack, because I know you're going to like it, was composed and performed by Brad Fiedel. I think that's how you pronounce his name. On a synthesizer.
Oh, fuck yeah, bro. Oh, that makes sense. It's the Terminator. He's from the future. It'll be all synthy.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So that's pretty cool. And it is iconic. It's going to be like the Jaws theme where, like, once we're done watching the movie, I can, like, hum the Terminator theme and you'll respond because it's that well known.
I'm excited.
But, like, last little things. Obviously, this film has created a franchise.
Oh, there's so many sequels. Oh, this has got to go on the list now of all the things we got to finish.
Yes, it does.
How many fucking Terminator movies are there, Benjamin?
There's several. I'm not even counting. I didn't even want to do it. Let me do it right now.
You didn't even list them off. Normally you'll tell me all of them, but there were so many that you gave
There's
up.
so many, but they all have, like, long and stupid names after, like,
This one probably.
no, the second one has a short name. And actually, this is kind of like an Alien situation.
Oh,
where
really?
I think a lot of people think the second Terminator is better. The second one's actually more famous than this one. Like, how Arnie behaves in that role.
Oh, interesting.
It's probably more what you think of when you think the Terminator.
Okay.
But yeah, let me pull up the franchise page.
This is on a flowchart like Night of the Living Dead.
No, but it's just going to be like a long list. So for films, there's the Terminator, Terminator 2, Terminator 3. These all have, like, subnames, but I'm not going to read
You're
them
going to
to
tell me
you.
the subnames? I guess maybe spoilers.
Spoilers, yeah. Terminator Salvation, Terminator Genesis, and then Terminator Dark Fate.
Oh, so there's only 6.
Which doesn't seem like a lot,
No.
but it also spawned a bunch of other things.
Oh, God.
There's television shows. There's multiple,
That makes
including
sense.
Terminator Zero, which I think is the new one that Netflix did, and it's like
Oh.
an anime one.
Oh, that sounds cool.
It's cool. We're gonna have to watch a couple movies before you can watch it, but it's supposed to be really, really good. Comic books, novels, video games.
I knew about the Terminator comics. I've heard the Terminator comics are really fucking good.
I think all the Terminator stuff is pretty cool because it's just such a cool idea.
Mm-hmm.
But kind of my last thing here, in 2008, the Terminator was selected by the Library of Congress for preservation in the United States National Film Registry.
Cool.
Always like to see that.
I love when they do that.
I think I have one more bonus fact, and I didn't write this down, so it's not going to be super specific. Cameron was inspired by a bunch of, like, old sci-fi stuff, including this one TV show. I forget the name of it, but one of the writers for that TV show ended up suing Cameron because he was like, "You stole some of my ideas."
Whoa.
And, you know, Cameron didn't agree, but, like, I think the studio was like, "You have to settle." So they settled, I believe, outside of court or inside of court, but there was gag orders on it. So undisclosed amount of money was passed back and forth. But he now has a screenplay credit, I think, on the film
Whoa.
in some of the newer copies.
That's interesting.
So I think we'll see his name mentioned when we
That's
watch this one.
super cool, actually.
Did Cameron steal his ideas? I don't think so.
No, probably not.
I think it was just similar.
Mm-hmm.
And at that point, no one had done killer robot from the future like that.
Yeah, and now that feels overdone. I feel like I've seen that in tons of movies. It's almost
Yeah.
like this
It was very
created
successful.
a genre.
Anyways, we're going to go watch the movie now.
Yeah. We'll see you guys in a minute. Hi, everybody. Welcome back. We just finished watching The Terminator.
Yeah, you remember the.
Well, I asked earlier because if I didn't include it, you would yell at me.
I will say the alternate title is just
Terminator.
Terminator.
That's fair.
Yeah, it's specifically The Terminator. What'd you think?
I liked it. It was good.
It's a good movie, right?
Yeah, it's a good movie.
Is it weird having never seen it before and now just being like, oh,
Yeah.
that was really good?
Well, it was just weird because there's lots of stuff in this movie that I knew about, but the way the movie gets to it is sort of weird in a way. It doesn't go straight line. Like, There's, of course, the I'll be back line that is very famous in this movie. Not what I expected that to be a part of.
Yeah, because I think, again, most of what you know about this film is actually not this film. It's later films in the franchise.
Yeah.
In either case, glad you liked it.
Yeah.
As always, you haven't seen this movie, go
You
watch
should
it.
Watch this movie. It's very good for a
Terminator's
reason.
great. It's very family friendly.
Not family friendly,
I
big
watched this
dog.
with my family as a child.
There's full nudity. It's rated R.
Yeah.
I won't say full nudity. Well, we know there is. We see hog. There's full hog in this movie.
That's fair.
I'm just saying. Not family friendly. Don't listen to what he just said.
It's fairly family friendly. But go watch it because, it's better to watch it without spoilers. But if you don't care, I'm about to give it a brief synopsis and then we'll get into actual spoiler territory. So you've been warned. That being said, what is this movie about? Well, there's a killer robot.
Yeah.
And it's sent into the past because this is a weird time travel movie to kill someone. And there's another guy sent back to the past to stop the robot from killing the person.
Yeah.
I know it's a little convoluted, but the whole movie's a little convoluted.
Yes.
But it works.
It does work. I'll give you that.
That being said, we're going to get into it. So, normally I ask you if you have something you want to start with, but I have a little point to kick us off.
Sure thing, boss.
This is the horror movie, right?
Yeah.
100%. This is actually one of those films that I, in my brain, compare to the Alien franchise. Because just like the Alien franchise, the first movie is a slasher.
Yeah.
That's what this is. It's very much in the vein of something like Jason or any other slasher killer where it's like big and menacing.
Reminds me more of Michael, less of Jason.
Interesting fact, he was somewhat inspired by John Carpenter's Halloween.
Yeah, I got hardcore Halloween vibes by the end of the movie. I mean, there's some pretty iconic scenes in this, but he does a lot of similar shit.
Yeah, and I don't know. It's one of those weird things to think about because, again, you go into the franchise, hey, this is like an action movie kind of thing.
Yeah.
But no, the first movie's a straight-up slasher-style horror film, and it is very effective.
Oh, yeah. The only thing it doesn't do is it doesn't, lean into cheap jump scares or anything like that.
It's all tension.
It's all tension and, people being brutalized.
Yeah. They don't cheap out on that.
No, they do not. No, I think that is what makes a lot of the horror elements of this film so effective is just the sheer number of people that die.
Yeah.
I mean...
Well, how easily they die, too.
It feels effortless for the Terminator to just mow these motherfuckers down, and that is what is freaky.
And then he gets shot 6 times.
He's fine.
And he's fine.
It's so scary. It is genuinely one of the scariest things we've seen on the show in terms of, I don't want to say a monster or a creature, but in the same vein,
Yeah, because it's relentless.
It is relentless, and that is what is horrifying.
Yep. So, kind of cool thing to think about.
Mm-hmm.
I will say, after this movie, it gets more into what you're thinking of.
Yeah.
Same way the Alien franchise kind of picks up and isn't a slasher anymore. So, that'll be cool to see when we cover the rest of these.
Oh, 100%. I'm excited.
And I know the second one's really well liked. Anyways, you have anything you want to start off with after my little spiel?
Yeah. I mean, I think we should start with the opening to the movie. Because that's one of the coolest things about it, in my opinion. I don't know about you. But, this is a sort of semi-futuristic sci-fi horror movie. So, we mentioned the Terminator gets sent back from the past. Or Back to the Future, I'm sorry.
Back to the Future. Good movie.
Good movie. In a lot of films like that, you don't really get to see where they're sent back from. In this movie, we spend actually a lot of time in the future scenes. Through whether it be I don't want to call them flashbacks, but technically they're flashbacks.
They're PTSD flashbacks
They are
for the most part.
Yeah. But we get to see a lot of what the future becomes and the world that will happen if the Terminator kills this person.
No, it's actually the world.
Yeah.
It's not if they kill this person.
No, that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
No, it's just the world. That's what the world's going to look like in the future.
Oh, that's true.
Period. Yeah.
Period. It's gonna happen. But essentially, I think that that's really cool. I really like the fact that it leans into a lot of the weird sci-fi elements and actually shows us what that is like. Because I think that's super effective in making the Terminator feel scarier. Because it's like knowing you're going to get there, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I think it makes the future just seem more real.
Yeah.
Because if you just have the human that goes back in time, Kyle Reese,
Mm-hmm.
but if you just have Kyle telling you about the future,
It doesn't have the same impact.
it doesn't have the same impact.
I just love the amount of time we spent there because it's so sad and horrible.
Oh, the future is
Awful.
horrific. I think they do a really great job showing it. There's giant, like, automated drones patrolling the world. There's ones that drive on treads, and there's the other ones that's kind of like a helicopter, but it has dual rotary blades.
No, I mean, I think the most effective imagery is when the movie opens on the thing with the treads. It's literally treading over human bones and skulls.
Everything's destroyed. Like, they show Los Angeles, and it's just ruins.
Desolate.
Like,
It's awful.
It looks like something out of Fallout, because guess what? Nuclear holocaust. But I think the best thing that really shows how horrifying this future is, we do see a glimpse into what the human, like, settlements look like.
Yeah, man.
And
it's rough.
Depressing. Like, everyone has wounds or is sick.
They're catching rats to cook and eat.
And it's a big deal. Like, they're really excited.
They are.
But I think the most poignant scene is we see these kids watching a TV, and then it pans, and it's just the kids looking into a fire.
Yep.
Like, zoning out.
It's really, really, really good. And it's one of the big sticking points for this movie for me. Because, like, don't get me wrong, I like the Terminator. He's cool. But it's all the stuff when he's not on screen that I love so much.
I mean, yeah, the fact that the Terminator works because he doesn't talk. He's not a character. That's what sells the movie. So it really does have to be carried on all this other stuff.
And although I just love the world building that gets set up through Kyle and his explanation of stuff. It's all really cool.
Yeah. And also, we need to remember, the movie's set in, well, the future for this movie is set in 2029.
Yeah.
Which for 84 is almost like 50 years in the future. So that's a long time. That's like for us 2070.
Fuck.
Yeah, weird to think about, right?
It is weird. Time's weird, man.
So I do think it makes sense that they went so far with the futurism.
Yeah. While we're on the topic of the futurism and stuff, I think we can kind of talk about the Terminator a little bit. I don't want to spoil too much.
This movie's 40 years old, Bob.
40 years. Yeah, you're fair. That's fair. He's a robot. We know he's a robot.
He's a robot?
He's well, technically he's not a robot, actually. He's a, what do they call it?
Cyborg.
Cyborg, because he has human stuff on the outside.
Yeah.
I don't know. We talked about it during the movie, and I kind of hate that I had this ruined for me. They don't reveal that he's a robot for a long time during the movie.
Yeah.
He gets fucked up multiple times before we ever get an inkling that he's a robot.
Well, I think it's more he fucks up people in a way that's really weird.
Yeah. Like, I mean, I think the first person he kills in the main, or in the current timeline,
movie, yeah,
is it's just some guy. He just, like, fully puts his hand to his chest and pulls his heart out.
Yeah.
Like, why can he do that?
I don't think he pulls his heart out. I think he just punches through his chest.
I think he's holding it at one point, because I think he squishes it.
It's like, I don't know. It's still, like, super impressive.
But it's super impressive and cool, and when you're introduced in this movie to Arnold and you don't know he's a robot, all that stuff hits so hard. Because it's so crazy. It's like, why can he do that? It feels like such a good reveal that I wish I could have been there for.
Yeah, and that's the issue with watching, like, these really famous old movies, is there's so much that is spoiled or is like a trope nowadays that seems overdone.
Yeah.
I mean, this is essentially the movie that I don't think it came up with the idea, but definitely popularized the idea of, like, robots becoming sentient and taking over and killing all humans.
Yeah.
That's basically popularized by this movie. And because of that, there's a ton of things in this film that are well known and spoiled. And it's kind of frustrating because I think
I lost impact, but me being someone who watches movies in my free time for a lot for this podcast and stuff, like, I'm aware of how good that could be.
Yes.
But someone who just passively consumes this after, because, like, if I were to watch this just with, like, my friends or something, I wouldn't have sat down and picked it apart as much as I did sitting here with you. So it's like, I feel like the average viewer experience is just so ruined by cultural osmosis.
Yeah.
And I think that sucks because I think there's so much smart stuff they do in this movie.
Yeah, I saw this for the first time, like, as a kid.
Yeah.
And I don't know how much of this is, like, me being a dumb child and how much of it is actual. But, like, I didn't have anything spoiled for me. And
No.
I thought all the reveals in this film were super effective.
No, I
think
know,
everything
man.
worked well.
And I think that is what really sucks in this case for me.
Yeah.
It makes me sad.
I can't imagine seeing this in the 80s.
No, yeah. We talked about that.
It's insane.
No, once again, I think I said this on Total Recall. If I saw this in the year it came out, 1984, I would have lost my fucking mind.
Yeah, the effects in this are crazy good.
They're immaculate. Even for today's standards, I think they're pretty fucking good.
Yeah, we watched it in 4K, so it's higher quality than you were ever supposed to be able to see.
100%.
So a lot of things you can tell are fake, but they're still very well done.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously, I wouldn't recommend it if that bothers you,
Sure.
because I do remember watching this on DVD as a kid, and like, it looked fine, like totally great on that. But long story short, practical effects are great.
They are insane. Not only practical effects, but the stunts in this movie are fucking nuts.
The first, I don't know, hour has maybe 20 minutes of just car chases and
Car
stunts.
chases, crashes, explosions. Not only are all of them impressive, there's so many of them. Like, there are so many people die or explode or cars get crashed into, or like, I just can't imagine how expensive the stunt budget on this movie was.
Yeah, it's wild to look at because it looks like they rented out streets, like they got the streets closed.
Yeah, they had to have.
It looks like they're filming on location, not necessarily in LA, but in a city. And so it's just kind of wild because they're like crashing cars and shit.
No, it's really, really impressive.
And then there's just Arnie doing stunts. So is the guy who plays Kyle Reese. He does weird balcony flip at one point.
It's cool.
But like the big one for me is not the stunts. It's the practical effects on stuff.
Yeah.
My favorite is kind of the stop motion / miniature stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like all the future's done with minis.
Yeah.
'Cause these big machines, they didn't make those actual size.
No.
But it looks great.
It looks so cool.
Even the city, like the ruins of the city are miniatures.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you can tell that.
No, and this film specifically does something a lot of other movies do, but it's something I particularly noticed with this one. It takes so many techniques and mashes them together to make a final product, which I think is so cool. Like, there's a scene near the end where you can tell it's a green screen on the other side of a door, but on the green screen they're doing stop motion. And then the green screen is then superimposed onto the scene behind the door so that they can close it. And then there are people acting in the actual scene on the foreground. And it's all like mashed together into one piece. And it's fucking sweet.
Plus, in the next like second, there's animatronics.
Yep. And it's like just the sheer ability to pull that off is impressive. It doesn't look amazing. Like, I could tell how they were doing everything. But being able to do that in and of itself is a feat, I think.
Yeah, I mean it's an effort that isn't required anymore.
No.
Because everything's just on the computer, so it's a lot easier to do. But yeah, back in the day, they had to really stretch to get some of these things done, and it's really impressive to see. So stop motion stuff looks really cool, but a lot of the makeup effects are great. Kind of the big thing with this film is that Arnold Schwarzenegger, so the Terminator, gets gradually more and more damaged.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't know how a T-800 is, because that's the model of what Terminator he is, they are a humanoid skeleton, endoskeleton, which basically means there's a robot, and then they've covered it in living human tissue.
Yeah.
Which does get a little bit more explored in some of the future movies, and it's just as horrifying as you think, Bob.
It was pretty horrifying here.
But, you know, he doesn't really have any way to repair his own tissue, especially quickly.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's real human flesh. So every time he takes a wound and it like rips some of his skin off, that's now gone. And so by the end of the movie, Arnie looks crazy.
He looks wild.
Probably the coolest effect in the film is we get to see him try and repair himself.
Yeah.
And, you know, that's really cool because we get to see some of the insides of his body. But we also get to see that, like, his eye's messed up, like the flesh on his eye. So he takes his eye off. And it's so great because we get to see a shot of Arnie and then a amazing animatronic head.
Mm-hmm. No, it's all really impressive. And it's all really cool. Like, because, you know, you think about the Terminator and they go, yeah, he has human skin. You don't think about the fact that he's going to get fucked up like that. Like, it is so cool, the attention to detail they take in those scenes. Like being able to see, like it's gross and I hate it. But watching him like move his fingers and then the inside pistons on his wrist move up and down is just so fucking cool.
It's also interesting because it resembles tendons.
Yeah.
Like, spoiler, we do get to see what the endoskeleton, like actual robot, looks like. And it's very similar to a human body in certain ways. And I think that's really interesting.
Yeah. It makes sense.
It makes sense, but they didn't have to go that far.
Oh, yeah.
Making it human. And I think it adds to, one of the big selling points of this film for me, at least as far as villains go. But they do such a great job making the Terminator feel inhuman.
Mm-hmm.
From the way he moves to like the way he behaves and talks, everything about him feels robotic. Good examples that come to mind right away. Arnie has a tendency to like move his head and his eyes at separate times.
Yeah.
Which is very mechanical. It reminds me of like old CCTV cameras that like pan back and forth. He also like walks stiffly, stuff like that.
I mean, my favorite one is the beginning of the movie when he lands and lands, approaches a group of punks, including Bill Paxton. And then he, like, the first thing he does is he repeats the words they say back to him.
Because he very clearly doesn't have a lot of, like, vocab yet.
Because he is probably fresh off the presses. They sent that bitch back ready to go. And you can tell through the movie, he picks up human language and learns more. And the antithesis of this is one of my favorite scenes in the whole movie. He's sitting in a motel somewhere, repairing himself. And one of the dudes knocks on the doors and, like, bangs on it and says, "It sounds like you got a dead cat in there. What are you doing?" And it cuts to, you get to see this a couple times, but it cuts to Arnold's vision throughout the film, which is infrared, which looks really cool. And basically a dialogue menu pops up, and it was a bunch of different options. And he just picked "fuck off, asshole." Like, that's such a real human thing to do. And the fact that we see the Terminator slowly progress and figure out how to blend in better in society is A, really cool, but B, so fucking scary.
Yeah. Especially because kind of the big sticking point here with this film, what makes the Terminator so dangerous in it, is modern weapons aren't really super effective.
They don't do much.
The Terminators are designed to work with weapons like 50 years from the future.
Yeah.
They say 40, but, roughly. And those weapons are a lot better. We see someone get shot with it, and they don't exist.
They're gone. Well, we see some clothes, some tattered clothing, I think.
And, I think it's one of those things where it's designed to take multiple shots from something like that.
Yeah.
And so against anything your average person could get their hands on, it's unstoppable.
It's sweet.
And it's super cool. It makes it super menacing.
Mm-hmm.
And it's this really great juxtaposition against Kyle Reese, who's also sent back in time. In this case, to protect Sarah Connor.
Yeah.
Which we really haven't mentioned, but that's the person who's being targeted in this film. Do you understand my kind of description now?
Oh, yeah. I put it together.
Pretty great, right?
Yeah, it was good. Implies that the Terminator's Batman, which I don't really love. Or I guess Kyle could be Batman. Either way.
In either case, kind of the thing I want to point out here is the first 30 minutes or so, like leading up to that reveal that there's something seriously weird with the Terminator, like they're a robot, is this back and forth between following Kyle Reese and the Terminator and basically trying to do the same thing. Go back in time, find clothes, because
they have to go through naked.
Yeah, no non-living things can go through. The Terminators are safe because they're covered in human flesh. But, they're doing the same thing, find human clothes, get weapons, find Sarah Connor. But it's super cool to see how more efficient the robot is than the actual person. And I think it really captures what the main driving fear behind this movie is, which is the idea of like progression and people becoming obsolete. Because the reason for this super dark future is humans relied on a robotic defense system and it killed us.
No, I really do like the beginning of this movie. I think it really juxtaposes these two characters in the best way. I mean, because they literally, scene for scene, are doing the exact same thing. And Kyle is just outright worse at all of it. And less quick.
I will say, well, he's so much worse by comparison. Compared to most people in
he's
this
awesome.
era, he's wild. And again, I think that makes the Terminator feel so much more threatening.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we watch him literally try to find Sarah Connor in the first moment, finds a different woman named Sarah Connor. She opens the door. He
The
goes,
Terminator, you mean?
yeah, sorry, the Terminator. And he goes, are you Sarah Connor? She goes, yeah. And he just shoots her dead right there. Just there's no remorse, nothing. Like, and then you get cut to Kyle, and Kyle is being very much a person about it. They do a great job at making the robot feel like a robot and making the man feel like a man in the most parallel ways, I guess.
Yeah,
It's a very good comparison.
I mean, the first time we're actually explicitly told the Terminator's a robot, Kyle's like, it's remorseless. It doesn't feel fear.
It doesn't feel pain.
It's relentless. And I think
Yeah.
that's such a great summation of why that's scary.
No, it's great.
It's like Michael. There's nothing behind his
Exactly.
eyes.
And I think that's kind of the whole point. Except instead of making it a man, this time it's a
It's
robot.
just pure evil.
Yeah.
It makes more sense if it's just a robot.
Oh, 100%. It doesn't make any sense for Halloween. I love those movies, but,
Soundtrack? I know you liked it.
Oh, it's really good.
It's really good.
It's so good.
The theme's very iconic, especially the dun 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 dun.
Yeah.
Which to me feels like, it reminds me of like people banging on like metal in like a factory kind of setting.
Okay, I could see that.
But I also kind of liken it to, this is going to sound weird, like a robotic heartbeat.
Oh, really? Because I was likening it to the footfalls of the Terminator when it's chasing people.
I mean, that too.
because
Just like,
I don't know if you caught it. He was running on beat at some points.
yeah. But just like
It was good.
this idea of like, it's a very rhythmic but non-human sound.
True. That's fair. I hadn't thought about it like that. That's a good point. Because they
That's
do
Great.
a couple of like heartbeat type things throughout the film with other people,
Yeah.
which it's cool. It makes sense.
But otherwise, it's super on theme. Like we
Oh,
said,
yeah.
it's all, what's it?
It's all synthy.
Synthy, which is really great for a futuristic movie.
Yeah, and what they do really cool is a lot of the scenes in the future have the synth, but a lot of the scenes in the present have diegetic music where it's stuff from the period just being played over a radio or a Walkman or just some other, thing that makes the synth feel more tied to the future, because they only really play it when the Terminator's on screen
Yeah.
or when they're in the future or Kyle's on screen.
And I think it also emphasizes how fucking horrible the future is.
Oh,
'Cause there
it's
is no music.
Awful.
There's nothing to hear besides the soundtrack.
The soundtrack and the wails of the people in the encampments.
We do get to see the T-800 go into an encampment,
And kill everybody.
and it shows why it's so scary.
Yeah.
It's a great scene.
Such a
I
good
would have been
scene.
disappointed if we didn't see that.
Yeah.
I was,
It needs it.
yeah,
It-
they touch on all the future stuff I want to see.
all the important stuff, I guess, right?
Yeah, without taking up too much time. Because I think total, maybe 5 minutes?
Oh, it's more than that, I think. I would say like 10.
It's definitely less than 10.
Yeah.
It's not that much time.
But it's enough.
But
It's enough, and if we didn't see it, I think the rest of the film loses impact from it.
it's the perfect amount, I think.
Yeah. Okay, we haven't talked about it, but the whole reason the Terminator has come back in time to kill Sarah Connor is because she has a son
Yes.
named John Connor who saves humanity at the end of this whole robot thing.
Yeah, basically, as we said, convoluted time travel film. But yeah, John Connor basically destroys the robots after humanity lost the war.
Yeah.
So Earth is fucked,
Oh, yeah.
but they do get rid of the robots. It's kind of a spoiler for later films, so I'm not going to tell you how he wins.
Oh, I don't know. I don't remember how he wins either.
Oh, they don't explicitly say it in this film.
Well, they tell you what. Well, they tell you something. I don't know how true it is.
I think they just tell you he won.
No, they say he destroyed their laser defense grid or something crazy like that.
Yeah, something like that. But yeah, he actually does destroy all the robots.
Yeah.
Kind of like a signal thing. But, the robots come up with this great idea, which is to kill him before he becomes a problem.
Yep.
Now, Bob brought up the great point that,
Well, if you're gonna kill John Connor, just go back in time to when he's a child and shoot him in the face. You have a Terminator.
yeah, and the Terminator's scary.
Really good at that.
And when he's a child, he's a child.
Yeah.
I mean, in 2029, I think he's like 40.
Yeah.
And I don't think the film goes out of its way to explain
No, it doesn't.
why it's the Terminator going back to the mom. But it does reference it. It's because there's no records about, like, what happened after the war.
Yeah, because assumedly, like, the war starts in, like, 85 or something. Like, it is right on the horizon when the
Yeah.
Terminator comes back.
So If you're wondering, that's why we're going back and trying to kill Sarah Connor, because there's some records, and we know that Sarah Connor was in LA at this time.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I mean, one of the last things that Sarah says is there's a storm coming.
yeah.
It's like, okay, well.
I think the kid says that.
Oh, yeah, the little kid that takes her picture.
Yeah, but that's the justification for why this is a weird, convoluted time travel thing. But I think it's super cool.
It is cool. I'll give you that.
Because I think, again, this is kind of before that was super overdone.
Mm-hmm.
But the idea that, like, we start the film and it's like, okay, this person is super important. It's like the most important person in this universe. And then we get halfway through and Kyle Reese is like, they want to kill you because of your son. And it's such a great twist of like,
oh, they don't want her.
You're not important.
Yeah.
You're just important to something that happens way in the future.
No, it's cool. But also, I think it's because I'm unaware of,
Later stuff.
later Terminator stuff, but not even that. Just like general sci-fi tropes and when they became established. But like, I think the idea of sending someone back to the past to fix the future is a pretty common sci-fi trope at this point in time travel in media. And even in the 80s, I would think that books had at least done that a couple of times. That feels like a very common idea.
I mean, Back to the Future.
Yeah, had Back to the Future come out yet?
Maybe?
This is 84. I don't know if that had come out, but if it had, then yes. That makes sense. But flipping...
85.
So this had come out first.
So, but the idea was definitely bouncing around.
Sure. The idea of sending someone back to do the opposite and end humanity? Chef's kiss.
Yeah. And like you said, I'm pretty sure that was around the idea of like going back in time to change the future. But what I think is so cool about this film, I'm not going to say unique, but just so cool, is that it's a stable timeline.
Yeah.
Like the timeline that we get to see of the future only exists because the Terminator went back in time
And killed Sarah.
and tried to kill Sarah Connor.
Yeah.
Which I always like to see. I think again, referencing Back to the Future, the other version of time travel where you actually change stuff and the future changes it's cool.
It is cool.
But it's always a little bit of a cop-out for like continuity stuff.
Yeah. But also time travel's weird. Because
Yeah.
it's made up and doesn't actually exist currently.
So, I don't know. I think this type is cool. And especially getting to watch the movie unfold and going, oh, this is all supposed to happen is great. Because at the beginning, you think it's more of the robot can change things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Just super cool.
No, it is really cool. And I think it leads me to my next point of...
Spoilers?
Kinda, I guess.
I guess.
I mean, not really. But essentially, we don't know who John Connor's father is. We are unaware of this throughout the film. And she even asked Reese a couple times, and he just like doesn't answer, basically.
He doesn't know.
Because he doesn't know because John never told him. Spoiler, it's Reese.
Yeah, it's a 40-year-old spoiler.
And I don't know how I feel about that, mostly because there's this really emotional moment, or it's supposed to be emotional. I did not find it so. Where basically, like, Reese is like, I came back in time because I love you, Sarah. Like, I'm doing this because of all these things and stuff. And I don't know if I like it. Like, I'm unsure if I enjoy it as a plot point. I like it a lot because it makes the stable timeline thing work, and allows for all these things to occur, and it feels very picture perfect in an otherwise film that doesn't feel that way.
Because John's like 20 years older than his dad.
Yeah, well, that too. Didn't think about that. I don't know. It's one of those things where like I get why they did it, and I understand the purpose of it. As a creative choice, I don't know if I'm a fan because it feels too plotted out in a way that the rest of the film doesn't feel like that.
I guess, but then again, we're getting into weird time travel stuff.
Exactly.
Where it feels plotted out, even though it's completely random, because
John
knew. Connor was told by his mom roughly what happened, and he manipulated events in the future
to make it work that way.
Yeah. So that's why it feels plotted out, because there's someone technically pulling the strings in the background.
Yeah, but it doesn't feel as clean as the rest of the movie because of that.
I guess, but I think it's also one of those things where it's kind of spoiled for you as a modern person.
Yeah.
And I said this to Bob as it was happening. He was like, yeah, I totally saw that coming. And I don't know how obviously that would have been for a person from the 1980s. I don't think time travel like this was so overdone.
Mm-hmm.
And so the idea of like someone from the future being the dad I don't think that's something everyone would have picked up on right away.
Yeah.
And if you only learn that at the very end of the movie, when they show Sarah Connor pregnant, that scene feels very natural.
Mm-hmm. That's fair. It was like the only part of this movie that felt clunky to me.
I think it also felt clunky to you because you were thinking about the logistics behind it, and it made you uncomfortable.
You're not wrong.
I think that was the big sticking point. If you're wondering, John Connor gave a photo of his mom to Kyle Reese, assumedly when Kyle Reese was young, and then also told him a bunch of stories about how cool
His mom
Sarah
was,
Connor
yeah.
is. And so, of course, he's in a war zone and doesn't have anything nice to look at. So he becomes like, Kyle Reese becomes in love with like the idea of Sarah Connor.
Yeah.
So he's in love with her when he goes back in time. And it very much feels like grooming, I guess, if you look at it that way.
It doesn't feel good. I don't like it.
But, you know, if you look at it from the 1980s perspective, it's fairly natural. Like, they were both trauma bonding.
Is there anything else we want to talk about?
Not really. There's stuff I want to mention, but, like, so many spoilers for later movies.
Oh, really? Damn.
Yeah.
I guess I'm just kind of talk about whatever because I don't have any frame of reference.
Yeah, go
for
ahead.
those. Oh, I was saying that's why I've been talking about.
Oh.
Yeah. That's why I've been kind of talking about whatever because I don't have any frame of reference for those new
Yeah.
movies.
I mean, there's some interesting stuff that, like, they don't say things
Mm.
that are just fairly common knowledge for the series
Interesting.
nowadays. And when I talk about this film, I want to mention them, but I know I shouldn't.
Because they're spoilers for different movies in the franchise.
Just later stuff.
yeah. Okay.
For instance, T-800. I don't think they ever call the Terminator T-800. In
No,
this film.
I think they call him T-101 is what they call him.
They reference a T-600, which
They
is
do
a
that
different
too.
model.
No, at the very beginning when he boots up, it says model T-101. Blah, blah,
I think
blah,
that's
blah,
his model number,
Yeah.
like his actual
Mm-hmm.
production number. But yeah, you don't learn it's a T-800. We don't really learn a lot about the defense system.
No,
We do later on, and I really want to refer to it when I talk about this movie,
that's fair.
but it doesn't come up. So yeah, there's just a tons of little things.
Yeah. And there's like tons of spin-off content if you're interested in Terminator.
Oh yeah, and
Not even just the extra sequels and films. There's just like there's so much content.
yeah, the thing I'll note here, Terminator is built on the bones of time travel. It gets so convoluted so quickly.
I'm sure it does.
Because there's all weird types of time travel shenanigans. My understanding of Terminator Zero, the new like animated series that came out,
Mhm.
is it's a different timeline, but still like the end of the world timeline.
Okay. Interesting.
So, you know, it's weird because time travel in this universe is stable, but also not stable.
Love that.
Because like the present is what's happening, and they can still affect the future
Yeah.
because there's free will. But at the same time, there's also predestination. You'll see when we get to the other films, which I'm excited to watch.
Me too. I mean, that's a whole subset of themes that we didn't even talk about right there. We could unpack that for like 25 minutes, probably 30 minutes at least.
But we're not going to.
No, that is something that I wanted to talk about, but I'm very tired and
Having
going
a discussion about free will versus predestination.
in a movie with time travel and robots, I think I'm okay.
But I'm just excited to watch Terminator 2 because
I'm excited to watch the rest of them.
it's a very different movie,
I'm sure it
but
is.
it's a very fun movie. And they really start to lean into some of the sci-fi aspects in really cool ways
Oh, see, that might be my favorite part about Terminator is the sci-fi stuff. I really like it,
because they had more budget. Because this was only done for $6 million
which is crazy.
because it looks way more expensive than that.
Oh, 100%. I think Arnold might be the king of cheap movies that look really cool.
I mean, yeah. I mean, he's one of those actors where if you get him in the right part, he's cool.
Kills it, man. He's really good.
But yeah, I guess recommendations.
Yeah. If you like Arnold, I think he's really good in this movie. You don't get to see as much of his like emotional range because he is just a Robo Man in this.
He only has like 15 lines or something.
Yeah, he
in the
doesn't say
entire
a lot.
movie.
He just kills people, which I mean, I like that. It's cool, and he's just big and scary. So if you're interested in that kind of Arnold movie, I'll check it out. If you're interested in the Terminator franchise, this is the first one, the first film in the franchise, even though it takes place somewhere weird in the timeline, probably.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah,
Sort
I
of.
assume there's a prequel or some shit that'll muddy this
No,
real
I mean,
bad.
well,
Yeah,
so time travel is technically also linear. So like the subsequent movies happen after this one.
Yeah.
But sometimes they might touch on events
That happened before this one?
before this one. You know how it is.
That's my
It's
point.
convoluted.
So, if you're going to watch Terminator, just start here and work your way through the movies.
Oh, that's the best way to watch them. Jumping into like Terminator 5 or 6, having never seen any of the other ones, is insane. Because you're like, what the fuck is happening?
Honest to God, when I was watching this, I was going, what the fuck is happening? Just because,
This film at least explains stuff. The other ones don't.
Oh.
Because it's like, well, when you're 5 or 6 movies in.
Yeah, you've seen the other 4.
You know.
Yeah, you know what's happening. So, Arnold, Terminator movies. If you want a good, like, horror action movie, this is fun. It has a lot of the horror elements and the action elements while not losing out on either of them. I think it's a very, very good mix of both of those things. Because it's the first movie, I think, in this category where Arnold is playing, like, a villain kind of character. He's really scary, like, genuinely terrifying. And I appreciate that so much in a film like this because I think it adds to the tension of the movie in a film that otherwise would be really fun, but probably boring.
Yeah. And I think that's going to be my main thing here is just if you want a horror movie from the 80s, because this is, again, so different from what people expect.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you want something that's like unexpected in that way, this film works really well as like a slasher film.
Yeah, it's really good.
Not to bring up Alien again, but it's that very similar vibe of you think it's going to be different, but it's just a straight up effective sci-fi slasher. Plus, if you like anyone in this movie, there's a ton of famous people. Tons of them, in little roles, too.
I mean, they got Bill Paxton just for, like, the cold open, basically.
Yeah.
Which, cool. I like him.
Anyways, rate it.
You know, look, I hate when we watch movies like this on the podcast because it ruins any way that I, like, feel like I have any sort of... If my free will, it's ruined.
If you don't know this, Bob doesn't like being told what to do.
No.
It really pisses him off.
It does. But it's not that I just feel obligated to give it a 5, which always, I think, feels bad because it feels like I'm cheaping out, but I'm going to explain myself because I'm going to give it a 5. It's Terminator. I can't not do that. Just the sheer volume of people that get murdered and blown up in car crashes, just like they've packed so much shit into an hour and 45 minutes or whatever. It deserves a 5 from the sheer spectacle of the film, but the fact that it is a good story and has good elements other than just being cool is why I'm going to give it a 5.
I'm going to give it a 5 as well.
Yeah.
In part because I like this movie.
Totally fair.
But it's stuff like Bob said where this film is super polished. And it's especially impressive when you remember how much money this had and the fact that no one thought it was going to succeed like it did. They just do a lot with what they have, and it turned out really, really great.
Yeah.
I've said this before, but it's like the example of this movie. Like this type of movie.
It is the epitome of like action horror.
Sci-fi time travel thing.
Yeah. It's so good that it practically probably spawned a genre.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's so hard for us to talk about films like this on the podcast because there's so much already out there that we're just feels like we're rehashing a lot of the same shit a lot of the time.
Yeah, but it's been 40 years and it's just intrinsic to the DNA of modern film.
100%. I mean, this is like peak 80s cinema. Like, I mean, this is what when you name action movies from the 80s, it's like Terminator, Predator. What is that other one? Terminator, Predator. It's another.
Apparently nothing else.
No, it's another fucking RoboCop. That's what I was trying to think of.
There you
RoboCop. But all of these films, they're the epitome of a genre that was so popular at a certain time. And so when we talk about them, it just feels so like
weird because everything you're saying has already been said.
Yes, that's why. That's my point.
All right. Well, if that's all, I guess outtakes.
Yeah.
If we have them.
What do we mark?
Stuff.
I think we can mark that eyebrow scene. I think we marked that.
Yeah.
That's pretty funny.
But we'll be back in a second.
Yeah. We'll see you guys in a minute. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the outtake section for this episode of Beware the Board. I hope you're enjoying our review of Terminator so far. I really love this movie. I think it's super duper cool. But without further ado, let's get into the outtakes. This first clip is Ben and I realizing just how close we truly are to the end.
This
my
is
God.
what it's going to look like, Bob.
In 4 years?
In 4 years.
In 4
Weirdly
years.
enough, what's going to happen in 4 years?
Well, I don't live in Los Angeles, so that's fine. Whoa, what the fuck?
Looks sick, right?
Are those fucking lasers? What is happening?
This is the future.
Are those skulls?
Yeah, human skulls.
Well, I'd hope they be human, Ben.
This next clip is me being surprised by how wild the Terminator really is.
I do love his shit-ass outfit he stole, though.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my fucking God.
He's so scary.
He's a menace!
Also, Arnie's doing such a great job playing, like, emotionless
What
thing.
the fuck? This guy's crazy! Did you just see him crank start that car with his hand?
Yep.
What is going on?
Arnie's strong.
This next clip is our reaction to one of the many car chase scenes throughout this film.
This is what I imagine Mario Kart's like.
Where's the blue shell? The Terminator has a blue shell. They're cooked.
It's a bomb.
No, the banana peel.
Who do you think the Terminator would be then?
Wario.
I think Waluigi.
Waluigi's good. Hi, everybody. Welcome back. I hope you enjoyed the outtakes. Do we have any announcements? Benjamin.
Well, we're ending the season next week.
Oh, yeah. I guess we should tell people about that. That seems kind of important.
So next week's going to be a non-movie episode.
Yeah.
Mostly so we have time to prepare for next season.
Yeah.
And it gives us a little break. But yeah, next week will be a wrap-up episode. That's where we talk about the season as a whole. It might be a little weird this time because
We've spent so long here.
and I don't really remember all of it very well because it's been
No, I don't either. What did we even start? Oh, we started with Hell House LLC, which feels like I've seen that movie 10 years ago.
because it was last year, I believe.
It was, because
I don't know. It's been a while.
it's been a long time.
So that's going to come out. But the big thing with that episode is we announce what our categories are for next season.
Yeah.
We're doing a thing. So we already know what
Normally
they
we
are.
save it for each other as like a surprise, but we made the executive decision that we should probably do the thing we're going to do because there's something coming up that we need to be ready for.
Yeah, Bob told me what his category was, and I was like, fuck you. Now I have to choose the other one.
You don't have to do anything.
I kind of have to.
You have free will,
This is a
Benjamin.
3-year-old conversation we agreed on. In either case, look forward to that. Or, just wait 2 weeks and we'll have the new season with new movie spots.
Oh, yeah.
Otherwise, usual spiel. Check us out wherever you get your podcasts, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, other podcast-specific platforms. If you're checking us out on any of those, please give us a quick recommendation or review. That really helps us out with getting traffic there. Probably the best way to support the podcast. However, you really want to, make sure we're getting new listeners. Go suggest it to a friend. That's just a great way to do it. And we really appreciate that, honestly. If you want to show the podcast some support, though, you can go over to YouTube, which isn't the best for audio-only content, but you can give us likes, subscriptions, stuff like that, and we'd love to see it. It gives us motivation to keep doing this, because sometimes we are really, really tired,
Like right now.
and it is hard to get through an episode, even though we like it.
How long have we been recording?
8 hours?
8 hours, baby. Let's go.
Yeah, 8
Just
hours.
about.
But kind of the other thing with YouTube is it does have a couple interesting tools. There's a bell button, which lets you get notified whenever we post something new, which is especially useful if we have something out of our usual format, such as a late
St. Patrick's Day
holiday
episode,
probably.
which should be out by the time this is coming out.
Maybe.
Good movie.
Good movie, yes. And, I think other platforms do have bell buttons, but there is one on YouTube. The big thing, though, with YouTube is it does have a search function on our channel page, so in case you want to look for key terms like movie names to see what we've covered, that's a great way to do it. Because looking through, our episode titles,
There's a lot.
much harder because there's so
We're
many different
so
names.
close to 200. I think this will be, so that would be one. This is 194.
I feel like we've been so close to 200 for a year.
Me too.
But kind of the biggest thing with YouTube is it's one of the two major places to communicate with us at. You can do that in the comment section of a specific video if there's something you want to talk to us about in that episode. Or you can go to Twitter at BewareTheBoard and go find Bob, Maybe look through your local phone book.
Hey.
Go down the names.
Yo.
Look for the guy who flips burgers.
Oh man, that's fucked up. They don't know about. Well, I guess they do.
They
don't
do.
Yeah.
It's for our real listeners.
Yeah. Don't do that. Don't be creepy and look me up in the phone book. I don't actually know if I would be listed. I don't
haven't- think so.
I haven't updated anything with the government in a long time. Like Ben said, check us out on Twitter at Beware the Board. It's where I post updates about the show, information about the show. Basically, if there's anything wrong with the show, it goes on our Twitter. On Mondays, I post a spoiler post for that week's worth of episodes, which this is the first episode that's coming out after I did this. But basically, normally I would do a movie cover that you could reveal using like the reveal hidden content feature. I'm going to start doing stuff that's more interactive. Like, I think for it, I tweeted out like basically a bunch of pictures and was like, hey, guess what we're going to watch if you want. Or here's like, the thing for it. So I'm going to try and do more stuff like that rather than just being like an image you click on and reveal. Something to, drive engagement, but also just a fun little thing for people to enjoy. So on Mondays, I post a spoiler post so you can watch that week's movie for that week's episode. So if you listen to the episode, you don't get spoilers or being vague about stuff, you know what we're talking about. Then on Fridays or whatever other day an episode goes live, I always post a link to the episode on our Twitter. So if you ever missed an upload or want to know what's going up, there's always a link there. Last thing, we make sure for more content for the show over on TikTok at Beware the Board, Instagram at Beware the Board, and on YouTube Shorts, also at Beware the Board. That's kind of crazy. Got all three of them.
Yeah.
If you are new here, you probably didn't know we have Instagram now. That I did within the last week of recording this, but if you want to support the show over there, check us out. We post all of our short form. There's also going to be announcements and stuff put on there. Basically, if that's your preferred social media platform, we're on there now. So check us out. Ben, I think that's it.
All right. Well, we'll see you guys next week for the wrap up.
Yeah. We'll see
forward
you
to it.
guys next time.